Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm going to try to make this quick and fast, and I'm going to explain the reward structure. You probably already know it, but I've created this kind of visual to let people kind of look at it and understand it a little better. It might seem a little complex, but it's really not. So we have the buy fee and the sell fee. There's 2% of the buy fee, and the sell fee goes towards the treasury. That's for marketing, dev work, paying the team. The other 13% of the buy and the 18% of the sell, all of that's going towards appreciating stablecoin. And basically what that's doing is it's selling for you over a long period of time and building that up and giving to the stakers. Usually only the sellers at the top win, but by the contract selling utilizing a tax, it's able to sell for you over a long period of time and then store it up and reward the people who helped keep the project alive. And creating this incentive to help reward those for keeping the project alive and to have growth in the project instead of death. If you only reward the sellers like a liquidity pool does, then you're incentivizing people to destroy the price and rewarding them for it. I've already been over that a lot, so let's get into the rewards. So we have our month right here. You got 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, all the way to 12, right? So every month, 2% of all volume is going to be converted into a stable coin, and it's going to be at the end of the month, it's going to be given to everybody because you got the green part, you got your rewards building, and we got the blue part. This is when the rewards distribute. So every month, 2%. Non-stop is going to be given. That's not a significant amount. It's not bad actually, but it's not the exciting part. It's more of just kind of a teaser along the way. The first big event is the 6-month rewards, because if we go right here, we have this reward building up 4% for the 6 months, but it doesn't distribute until the 6th month. So you got your 2% every month, and then the first exciting event, you've had 4% of all volume building up for 6 months that gets distributed on the 6th month. And that goes to everyone who's in the project. Anybody who leaves the project, they've forfeited all their rewards and they're paying into these. They're paying into this 2%, this 4%. And so that'll be the first big event, which will be, it'll happen at the same time as the 6-month event. Those rewards will happen at the same time. You'll be getting 2% for that month, and you're getting 4% for the last 6 months of all that volume being converted into a stablecoin. Stablecoin, even if sell-offs happen, that stablecoin value is being preserved for the people that make it to this point. If we gave it out in the token and people sold, these rewards would be impacted by the sell-offs. You don't want to reward in the same token. It's a terrible idea, in my opinion. And so meanwhile, the real purpose of control token is the control event. It's this equalizer, stabilizing event of distributing wealth in a significant way that's exciting, gives us a huge event to look forward to that's real value. It's not potential value. It's not an exchange listing or a utility or a partnership that you hope causes people to buy, that you hope gives you a chance to sell. It's a real value event that also has the chance to raise the price. So it's real value that you're looking forward to, not potential value. And so what's happening during the entire year, once we launch, which should be within the next couple of weeks, 6% of buys and 11% of sells are going towards building up for an entire year. So with the tax, you've got 2% of buys and sells going towards the monthly. You've got 4% of buys and sells going towards the 6-month rewards, which happens twice. And then you've got 6% of buys and 11% of sells. What that means is that sells increase the rewards almost twice as much as buys as far as the control event or the 12-month rewards. And so the 6% of all buys and 11% of all sells builds up for an entire year. That's a lot. That's a long time to be building up a large percentage of volume into a reward event that people can look forward to and work towards. But the crazy part is it's not just that. Like if it was just that alone, that would be really cool, right? 6% and 11% of sells building up, being converted into stablecoin for an entire year into one big event. The cool part is it happens at the exact same time, like the 6-month happened at the same time as the 6-month rewards. The 12-month rewards happens the same time as the second 6-month rewards, which is the 4% of all the volume building up for the last 6 months. And that also happens at the same time as the last month rewards, the last month of the control event. So you get that 2% for the last month, that 4% for the last 6 months, and that 6 to 11% of all buys and sells for the entire year built up into one big event for the people that make it to that. That only goes to the stakers. Everybody who doesn't stake, they forfeit their rewards to everybody who is staking. And everybody who leaves the project forfeits those rewards. So we're building a ton of value in the future, and everyone who leaves the project is paying into that through these taxes, and they're forfeiting the rewards they would get out of it. And so it's a way to shift a lot of value that's preserved and permanent in the future. I've said this multiple times. Everyone's seeking value, and the price and the sentiment and the belief, those things are all attached to each other, but they're usually in the liquidity pool. So by pulling away from that, using a tax, preserving it so that it can't be negatively impacted by sell-offs into a stablecoin, and then giving it out in the future, we can create a ton of real value that look forward to, that pulls away from the people who destroy the project, and it gives to the people who keep it alive. Because if you're leaving, you're forfeiting all of your rewards. If you leave, you forfeit your 6-month rewards, every month rewards, you forfeit the biggest rewards at the end, the control event. Now, that's not all. This actually gets pretty awesome. It gets pretty crazy. That's really cool in of itself, right? That kind of idea. But where this can get really cool is the unstaking fees, because I want people to still have the opportunity. I don't want you to have to pick between rewards and selling. If you want to sell, I want that to be an option. If you don't stake, you don't get any rewards. If you do stake, you get your rewards. So in order to get the monthly rewards, you have to stake a month. You have to at least commit to staking for a month. You'll get those monthly rewards. But if you want the 6-month rewards, you have to commit to staking for 6 months. So it doesn't matter when, as long as you do it before, but then you'll have to stake for 6 months after the point from which you staked, without incurring a staking fee. And then if you want the 12-month, you have to commit to staking for 12 months. Now you can do that at the very beginning, stake for the 12 months, and then have no unstaking fee right after the reward event, or you could do it right before the 12-month and then have to wait another year before you don't have to pay that staking fee. If you stake for the 12 months, you're going to get the 6 months and the 1 month automatically. And if you stake for the 6 months, you're automatically going to get all the 1 month rewards. So it's up to you to choose how you want to go about that. And each stake is going to be its own stake. What makes this even more amazing is that the unstaking fee, if somebody wants to take rewards and they've been staking and they got some of their rewards and they decide, I just need to sell because my bag's gone up too much, I don't want to take that opportunity away from them, but it's going to cost you so that people can't abuse this system. So there's unstaking fees. Some projects have extremely high unstaking fees, and some projects don't even let you unstake. I want that to be an option for you, but it's not going to destroy the project, right? That's the goal, is to keep the project alive and to reward people for keeping the project alive. That's the goal of Control Token. So an unstaking fee for regular holders, for anybody who's staking in any of these pools, is going to be about 30%. It could be 30 to 35 to 40%. It might have to be increased a little bit to change something, but it's going to be around 30%. So when you unstake, when anybody unstakes, 20% of that is also going to the control event. So out of every month throughout the entire year, anything that's unstaked is also fueling, it's an extra way that's fueling the control event outside of all of this volume, outside of the 2%, outside of the 4%, and outside of the 6 and 11%. You have this 20% of everybody who's unstaking fueling the control event as well. What that means is if $1 million gets unstaked throughout the entire year, which it could be a lot more than that, it could be less, but if $1 million did, that would be an extra 200,000 that would go towards the control event. And then that person unstaking, those people unstaking, would also be paying the sell fee, which would be another 20%, which would be around another 200,000 or around 100 and something thousand that would go back to that, and they'd forfeit their rewards to that. So we're shifting a ton of value into the future to reward people for keeping the project alive and to incentivize the growth of a project. This hasn't been done before. I think this is the solution to DeFi. It's not it's not that this is a fun thing. It's that this is countering the problem of why projects fail, because liquidity pools incentivize the destruction of the project. And so that's really cool to understand, that you have all these taxes fueling the future, and you can be confident knowing that everyone's paying this tax to keep the project alive, because we're all fueling. Really, the big month events are the 6-month and the 12-month. Those are the biggest. But the unstaking fees are all going towards the 12-month events. So everything that gets unstaked really fuels the 12-month events. Outside of that, we do have an extra layer to this, which is really cool. It cost about $1,030 around there to get 5 million tokens, and it's going to be about 5 million tokens that you need to be in the whale pool. The idea of the whale pool is the whales, every project is controlled by a very small group of people, and it's not the team and it's not the community. It is the whales. It's those who control the price. And the team is basically, and the community is basically hostage to these people who control the price, and they're not even working together. They're just deciding if they want to buy, hold, or sell. And so the goal of Control Token is to zoom in on who controls the project and to take that control back, or to change that control in a way that incentivizes the growth. If you don't have a tax in any project, the liquidity pool is basically saying whoever takes the most value out of me is going to win the most, and whoever doesn't take any value out of me is going to lose. And that's pretty much a lose-lose situation. It's very hard to build a project that's going to last on something like that. It's basically failure by design. It's attaching a massive explosive next to your rocket ship, and that's going to blow up at some time, and that's why all the charts look the way they do. So what we want to do is we want to reward and incentivize people for keeping the project alive, not for destroying it. So we're targeting with the whale pool. This orange part is targeting the whales, the people who really control the project, and that's about $1,030 worth of tokens, worth of BNB to get that in the pre-sale. And once we launch, then obviously that can get more and more expensive if the price goes up. But it's about $1,030 to get 5 million tokens, and that's about where we're going to have that amount. If you stake 5 million tokens in Control Token, you'll be in the whale pool. Now, when you get into the whale pool, not only are you getting all these rewards, because the whale pool is a 12-month stake. Not only are you going to get all the monthly, the 6-month, and the 12-month rewards, but you're going to get your extra 1% of all volume that only goes to the whales. So by being in the whale pool, you get this extra 1%, and that's given out every 3 months. So the whales, 1% of all volume builds up for every 3 months, and then the whales that are in the whale pool, they get that. Whatever that is, they don't have to share that with everybody. They only have to share that amongst themselves. Any whale that doesn't stake into the whale pool forfeits all of these rewards plus the 1% to the whales that are in the pool. And this happens every 3 months, and it'll happen on the very last month. As a whale, you'll not only get, like I said, the 12-month, which is the 2% for the last month, the 4% built up for the last 6 months, the 6 and 11% of buys and sells built up for the entire year. You'll get all of that, plus the last month, you'll get that extra 1% for the last 3 months, plus we'll have 20% of everybody unstaking fueling the control event. But the unstaking fee also fuels 10%, which is kind of a specific control event for the whales. The whales have, on top of the control event, they have an extra control event, which is the whale control event. And basically what that means is the whales have their own 12-month reward pool that only goes to them. There's a reason for that. It's because these people control the project, and if we don't have a way to have them united in the future growth of the project, then it's likely they're going to be divided against each other and they're going to destroy the project. So the whales, when they enter the whale pool, they get all these rewards plus the extra 1% of their own volume built up for every 3 months, right? But when whales leave this pool, they pay that unstaking fee. 20% of all the whales leaving the whale pool goes back to the other whales in the whale pool. So if you and me, we're all in a whale pool, and say that there's say there's $20 million sold out of the whale pool. They pull out, they unstake, they pay the sell fee, and then they sell. So let's say 20 million leaves the whale pool. That would leave 20% of that, which would be 4 million, would be going back to the whale pool on the control event. And so those whales that leave, they just pay the unstaking fee, right? So they paid 20% into that. They paid 10% into the control event, which you're also getting. And so you're going to get that 4 million just between you and the whales that are left. You're going to get the 6% and 11% of all buys and sells that built up for an entire year. You're going to get the 4% that built up for the last 6 months, the 2% that built up for the last month, and that extra 1% that built up for the last 3 months. In other words, we are extremely rewarding the whales who keep the project alive, because they should be rewarded for keeping the project alive. You shouldn't just hope that whales don't sell massive bags, right? There needs to be real incentive on the other side of that bag. You know, if you can sell a project for $100,000 or $1 million, there's no downside to it in a taxless token. In Control Token, if you sell that, if you sell that, you're forfeiting all of this value and you're paying into it on the way out. You're saying, everybody, you guys can all keep all of my rewards, especially if you're a whale. You're saying you can keep my whale rewards, you can keep that 1%, you can keep my monthly rewards, you can keep that 4%, you can keep that 6%, 11%, and I'm going to pay into it on the way out. I don't know if people realize how massive it is to have something like this counter the number one reason of why projects fail: whale dominance. Outside of bad actors, it's whale dominance. And so this structure is designed to counter that in a extremely meaningful and impactful way, utilizing the tax, which is the main reason projects grow, is people buying and selling in the liquidity pool. It's not utilities, it's not partnerships, it's none of that stuff. 99% of the time, it's not those things. It's just people buying into a project. And so through a tax, you can utilize the strongest part of what causes a project to grow. And by taking away from that, taking value out of that everyone's seeking, and giving it, preserving it in the future, you can create real value in the future that we can all be confident exists. In a taxless project, sell-off could happen tomorrow and the project could die and you have nothing to look forward to. Control token, you know that everything is fueling these rewards. That if at any point, even if volume stopped, you guaranteed have all of this built up. You have the 6%, you have the 6 month rewards, the 4%, and the 12%. If at any point the volume stops, these rewards do not go down. They cannot go down. And because it's a stable coin, the value of it can't go down. In fact, with buys or sells, and sells actually increase these rewards even more, it can only go up. And the amount of the token can only go up, and the value of the token can only go up. So you still have the game of the liquidity pool of taking rewards. If that's what you want to do, you're going to be forfeiting rewards and you're going to be paying a tax. And you still have the fun of the control event. We can't be united in selling. That's what I always say. We're united in the growth of the price of any project, but we're all divided when it comes to selling it, because we have to sell on a bunch of other people and we have to sell before each other. We all want to be the red candle. We don't want others to be the red candle. So we're divided against each other. But when it comes to the control event, it's something that we can all be united in. We all can work towards this value that's actually going to the people that's keeping the project alive, and that's going to all of us that are staking. And so we can be united in that. There is not a con in this project that doesn't have a pro to it, which means that when sells happen, you know that that person just forfeited all their rewards and they just paid into those rewards, and they provided a buying opportunity for anybody who wants to get more tokens at a cheaper price to get those real value and the potential value of the price going up, and the fact that those rewards can only go up. That's insane to have a structure like this, and the implications of the psychology of what that can do to an investor, instead of it just being, oh, I hope I sell the top. That's taxless tokens. Oh, I hope I sell the top. I hope a bunch of people buy so I can sell on them. This is actually a morally better project too, because you know that your family and your friends that you're getting in this, that worst case scenario, if a sell-off happens, they have all this value shifted to them in the future growth of the project, assuming no more volume happens, which is unlikely, because these rewards put a natural demand on the price. If somebody can come in, drop $1,000 and get thousands of dollars of rewards or more, they're going to do that. The community is going to do that. The whales are going to do that, and new buyers are going to do that. So the more these permanent future rewards go up, the more natural floor it puts on the demand on the price of the liquidity pool. And because we have that 5 million entry fee into the whale pool rewards, which is extremely rewarding for the whales, this puts a natural demand on the ceiling of whatever the price of 5 million tokens is. There's going to be a great demand on that, to have that amount of tokens to get these extra rewards, this extra 1%, extra 10% of everything that's unstaked, extra 20% of everything that's unstaked out of the whale pool. And so this is an amazing idea that shifts all this value into the future. It allows you to be secure, to feel confident when sell-offs happen, that there's so much value being shifted to the future. And worst case scenario, we get that value. Best case scenario, that value increases, and it increases the growth of the liquidity pool, which is an amazing structure to have set up. This is what I thought of a long time ago. This is for the benefit of the holders, instead of just the sellers at the top winning with a narrative that everybody bought into that ended up costing them and nothing is left for anybody else. We have a lot of people winning over a long period of time. You can still sell, if you have 100,000 and you're not staked, you forfeit all your rewards and then you pay the sell fee. It's 20%. Now you've got 80 grand. Cool. You were able to make 80 grand. I still want that fun opportunity of having that big growth to happen, but I don't want the project to be destroyed, because then it's just a few people winning and now everybody else loses. Through having a sell fee, through having a buy fee, through delaying those fees, through making them stablecoin, we're able to preserve the life of the project and reward the people who usually don't get anything. If you don't sell, you're usually punished. The project sells for you and it rewards you on a monthly basis, 6-month basis, and a 12-month basis. And through this extra layer of the whale unstaking fee and the unstaking fee, 10% of what all the whales sell out of the whale pool goes towards everybody else in the control event. And then 20% of what everybody else sells out of the whale, out of the staking pools, goes towards the control event. And then after this year happens, which this is going to be happening during the bull run, during the most exciting time, during the most money, where if Bitcoin goes past 100K, BNB, the price that control token is in, the chain we're on, is also probably going to go past 700, 800. It already went to 700. It's probably going to go to 800, 900, maybe 1,000. I don't know. And so that's going to be great for control event. And then we know that all this money comes into alts and people will be seeking alts. And so control token might just be this beacon of light in a very dark space full of rugs, pump and dumps, projects that are being destroyed by the whale dominance and bad actors and, you know, people who pump projects in order to get other people to buy and sell them. There's so much bad acting going on in the space, and nobody's really addressing the liquidity pool like I have with control tokens. So I think this will be a beacon of light during this next bull run that could provide one of the longest, highest taxes going towards the biggest rewards over a long period of time. You know, I talked about this with Safemoon. Safemoon had 5% reflections. 2.5% of that was about half of that was being eaten by the burn wallet, and everybody was getting those reflections. So it's being greatly diluted between everybody. The whales were getting the most. They were selling. They were devaluing everybody's rewards greatly by 90%. You were getting the least amount of reflections, and they were being devalued to almost